everybody. Welcome to Mr. Mark's Classroom, and we're so excited today to get to interview Debbie Thompson. Now listen, the reason I know about this is because I went and saw it myself. We're talking about how to have events where you involve the parents at your event. Debbie is the children's minister for First Baptist in Tulsa, and I don't want to say how many. I think it's at least 20 years. How long have you been there, Debbie?
23 years. I celebrated my 23rd anniversary September 1st.
Man, that's so incredible. I mean,
It's a long time.
It is a long time. You've got staying power. Actually, you're a big inspiration of mine for sure. Debbie came alongside of me years ago when I was working on VBS stuff and said, Mark, this is how they want to do it. And kind of held my hand, walked me through it. And she has been my dear friend ever since. And so about a year ago, she asked me to come over to her daddy-daughter date night. It was a real special night, and we had such a fine time. And I asked her to come on today to talk to us about how do we put together an event that involves parents, or what have you done that's been successful and maybe not even always successful, because she's learned some great things through the years as she's had these different type of events. So Debbie, start by just telling us, what is the event that I was at and what do you do?
Well, we call it the Father-Daughter Banquet, and we usually do it in February. You can do it anytime, but we usually do it in February here. And we have girls kindergarten through 6th grade, and their dads or their grandpas. We even have some men in the church who go with little girls who don't have a dad in the home or relatives that live nearby. Even our pastor, there's a family that has 3 little girls, and the mom's raising her children by herself. And so some of our pastor and some of our other ministers on staff here whose girls are too old to go with them take those little girls. And so it's always a fun time. Usually they dress up.
I'm just going to say that is like hero status, that those men step up so those girls are not left out. And we need to be sensitive, because we have some families that are going to be needing, and so be ready to answer that.
Sure, and it's been great. And the mom is so appreciative of those men taking her daughters every year so they get to participate.
That's awesome. So what happens for this evening? Do you send out invites, or what do you do?
Yes, we do. We send out an invitation, a card, and it usually has, depending on how we're decorating for that year, it has, the logo and everything. We change each year to match how we're decorating, and we send that out, and we put it out, of course, in other publications and have posters around the church. And the girls especially look forward to when that's going to be, to make sure their dads have it on their calendar. I try to put something out about 6 to 9 months in advance, just so dads can get that date on their calendar, so they don't let anything else come up.
That's a great point, because our families are just so busy. There was a day in children's world that they didn't have anything. If it wasn't a ball game, then they didn't have anything to do. But that's different now. We're using planners, and parents need to know. And so, at the beginning of the school year, I published a whole year's worth of activities and all that's going to be done. And my parents really appreciate it.
Right, and that's what I do too. So they have plenty of lead time to know that that's when that event is going to take place.
So how do you dress for this? Do you say that in the invitation, what to expect?
I do. I just, put, like business casual dress or whatever, but most of the little girls like to dress up. And, that's different for each little girl, what dress up means. And so whatever they wear is certainly fine, but a lot of times they wear their sweet little dresses, and dads wear their suits or a nice shirt or whatever, but they always look very nice. The little girls are always just so excited. And of course, some of the dads get the little girls' wrist corsages and stuff. So again, that's up to each individual, and there's no pressure. Not all little girls like that. So it's just whatever their daughter or the girl they're bringing wants. I do have the men on staff that go. I do highly recommend to them, or really I just flat out tell them they need to buy a wrist corsage for those little girls, just because I think that's an added touch, and they all can do that.
You bet. That's awesome. Well, I think it's neat that they're coming and it feels special. They feel special. So like when they get there, do you have like a photo op place or something, pictures?
Yes, we always do. And we have a great gentleman in our church that's kind of his spiritual gift to do. He takes every year, and he won't charge me anything. He even gets them all developed. So every dad and daughter, they get a 5x7, and his name's Mr. Jake, and he won't charge me, but he does great pictures. We always have the decorations on the stage to be the place they get their pictures taken. And we tell them they can come 30 minutes before the event starts if they want to, so they can go ahead and have pictures taken. So that's really a special time too for them. And a lot of the dads, we've done it for so long now that they have the pictures of every year, and they always make comments to me about that.
Oh, I bet. So I just have to know, to put something together like this, I know already you've got the momentum going, and that's great because now people know what to expect. It's not too much of a secret or trying to explain it so much, because when you first start, it feels like you're selling it. It feels like you're talking about it all the time.
Right.
So do you have a group of moms or dads that help you plan it, come up with a theme, decorate? I mean, there's like a lot of pieces to this.
I have some of my friends that go to church here help me. I don't let the moms help, and I don't let the moms come, just because I don't want them to take over it.
Yeah.
You know,
yes,
it's a special time for daughters and their dads or grandpas or uncles or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so some friends here at church that have helped me every year, and we do different decorations each year, and we've used some of them more than one time. This coming year will be our 9th year to do it.
Wow.
We have different decorations, but they always help. These ladies come and help me the night of the event too, and they're always there. So that's wow. Great. And they enjoy it. They love doing it.
That sounds like a dream team, actually. I like that. Okay, so you were such an inspiration for me that after I saw what you were doing, I began thinking, how do I get these dads and daughters, or what if I also got the moms and sons together, or what if I got the dads and the sons and the moms and the daughters? I mean, I just was looking at all four. And I really felt like that if I would put those 4 events on the calendar, I would have more engagement with the parents, who often are sending kids up to their small group Bible studies on Sundays, Wednesdays, whenever. Or, I mean, I'm not even feeling like I'm seeing them anymore.
Right.
A path doesn't cross. And I know that people will more likely be willing to come and work to serve in kids ministry if they know the leader, if they can trust the leader, that they're usually a lot more open. But if I don't ever engage any time with them, I'm not even getting that opportunity. So I took your idea and I put it together, and I was having trouble finding places. Like now I know why February is much easier for you. It's in the winter and there's not football games like all fall. Like that is almost impossible. But I chose a date in the fall for my dads and daughters. I called it the Father Princess Pancake Breakfast.
Uh-huh.
And since it was in the morning, then it was free all the rest of the day, so the dads didn't miss any of their football games. And the daughters got to come dressed as any princess they wanted, or themselves, however they want to do it. It was so cute. Several of them came as Cinderella or Belle or whatever. The dads were casual, like business casual, like you just said. And as they entered, I got these mic stands from the worship center and just put them out and put some ribbon on them, like, and then I put out a pink tablecloth, the vinyl tablecloth, taped it to the floor so they would have like an entrance. And we announced who was coming in each time and took their picture on the runway. And it was just so cute. And one of the little girls, she was like, wow, you guys go all out. And it was like, okay, it's a vinyl tablecloth and the mic stands. I mean, it really wasn't, but she was impressed, which made, that was perfect. Decorating the tables, and we put a couple of chairs. Actually, I call them throne chairs from the worship center that the pastor sits on. He's Mr. Okay, well, they look pretty throne-ish. We put those on the stage with a backdrop, and it just said Princess Pancake Breakfast, and the girls and their dads took pictures with them, just like you, using your example right there on the stage. And it was so much fun. But and we had lots of different things happening at the table, some trivia stuff. They had to make a crown for their dad. They made a crown for themselves. And then at the very end, like we had a little devotional thought and stuff. And at the very end, we I just have to say, followed your lead. You have kind of a dance party at the end. So, but explain, how do you do that? Do you have a DJ? Do you have, what do you do?
I just have some songs that I've downloaded. Like we always do a twist contest, the dads. And so I just play song, and then the ladies that help me are the judges for that. And then like whoever the speaker is, like when you came to speak or whoever, I always have them help me judge that as well. And then I have gift cards. Our church credit card company, we can get free gift cards, and so in different denominations, and so I always have our business manager do that. So I give them $10 gift cards, and we choose 3 winners from that. And then I do the Cupid Shuffle.
Oh, yeah.
I just like to do that.
I like to do that.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's fun as well. So we do the Cupid Shuffle, and then we usually always do. We may do one other song, just depending. It's just stuff I have downloaded on my iPad. And then we do the father-daughter dance to Stephen Curtis Chapman's Cinderella. I was at one time.
Yes.
Yes,
I should have done that.
Yeah, he talked about that. So I do a little blurb about the importance of them taking time to be with their fathers, because, especially as Baptists, sometimes we think that's not a good thing to dance. So I always call it creative movement. Do a little creative movement that night. And I just think it's good for dads to have that time. That's so important to their sweet little daughters.
Oh, and so I had, at the end of mine, I had a couple demonstrate how to waltz. And the daughters and the dads practiced waltzing together.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, to the Cinderella Waltz. And it was so pretty. I just videoed and took pictures, and I had some moms tell me later, what? You got my husband to waltz, to dance? I can't believe it. But when the little girl's like looking at you like, are we going to? I mean, and everybody's up and nobody knows how. And it was so simple, because you just make a box and then go back and forth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was so simple. Anyway, it really, really turned out great. I love the idea of using Stephen Curtis Chapman's song. That's perfect. I mean, that goes, perfect.
Yeah,
So,
it's always really good. It's a good time too for the dad to think about the words in the song.
So do you charge for this event? Or,
I do. I charge $15 a person because we have a nice meal, a
yeah.
nice dinner that I usually have catered. We usually do some type of Italian food, and then I do petit fours for dessert. I have a friend that petit fours, and she makes those, and I do think about children with, and dads as well, with gluten allergies or whatever. So I make sure I have that. But that includes everything they get for the night. And the girls get table decorations that we use. They get to take those home with them, whatever it is, like little pads and pencils or stickers. We've had little necklaces, those little balls of bubbles, all kinds of stuff. So there's always 2 or 3 items on the table they get to take home with them.
So is it $15 a couple or 15 per person?
It's $15 per person. No, it's not. I'm sorry. It is $10 per person.
Oh, okay.
It is $10 per person. We used to do $15 per couple and then $10 for each additional, but it was just better to do $10
straight across.
Yes.
Much easier.
Yes.
Very good. Well, when I did the event, it was so well received. I mean, people thanked me. I posted pictures on social media, and there was just floods of people who were talking about it. So I'm kind of looking forward to the next thing. Our next one is the mother-son Camp In. We're going to move all the furniture back in the fellowship hall, all the tables and chairs, and we're going to have a Camp In in January. And
I think that's good.
Yeah, and then later in the spring, the dads and sons will have a camp out. So the boys are going to have a camp in and a camp out. So it'll be kind of a glam camp. But
yeah.
I think we'll just have a Nerf war, in the church, and all the moms against the sons. And I think the boys will love it.
Oh, I think they will too. I think anything like that you can do is so important, that parents spend a special time with their children. We're not, maybe all siblings are there, but maybe not, depending on the age range. I just think that is so important for parents to have fun with their children.
There may be some people listening that will ask, well, what's he doing for mothers and daughters? Well, mothers and daughters are going to have a Christmas tea, and it'll be a really pretty with china and everything. And I've even gotten our older ladies at the church that out in our missions organization. They're even going to host it, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So I think that'll be a special time for them as well.
Certainly.
Yes. So I have to tell you, I don't necessarily have the dream team that you're talking about. Of course, they've been down the road together 9 years, please. So what I did was I just looked over all the parents that might be available to help plan it. And I thought, now I'm trying to build relationships with these parents. This is a great way to do that, because even in the planning of it or the preparing for it, that gets us together. So we get to know each other better. And it was a big help to I chose moms of daughters only, like they don't have any sons. And since they wouldn't be coming to the event, then I would let them be a help on the front end of it and doing that. And so they came and met. Now I've got different groups of parents for each of the other events. But again, it's time, even if it's just an hour, to sit down at a table and plan together. I'm getting a little bit of time with them.
Right.
I'm trying to it feels like I'm stealing that out of their life, but I'm just trying to connect us. Because, they could be a big help to us in lots of other ministry or classroom opportunities if we know one another better.
Sure. And that's the important thing, Mark, is just building those relationships. Makes such a difference. Then when you need them to do something later, they know how you work and what happens, and you know them. And to me, that's invaluable.
It is.
Build relationships with people. That's why it's good to be on church staff for a long time, because I've built those relationships and people know me and I know them. And of course I meet new people all the time too, but to have those relationships makes such a huge difference in ministry.
Yeah. And it goes back to saying everything that God does, he does through relationships.
Right.
So we have to we can't be hiding behind a welcome desk. We really need to be engaging with the people who are coming in our path and then going into their path, finding them. So hopefully this will do it. Well, I hope some of our listeners today are really getting a great idea about planning ahead as you're going into the next year and planning when you're going to have things for families, and that you would be able to be intentional about engaging with them. All of these things are not just about having an event to fill the calendar. Last thing we need is more fluff. We really do want to be purposeful. So be clear about that. Get it on the calendar and start planning. Some of this stuff doesn't even cost much. It just is a matter of doing it. And this will encourage, just like you encouraged me. Thank you so much. And I hope others will do the same. Appreciate you, Debbie, and all that you do.
You're welcome. Thanks, Mark.
Hey, everybody. Glad that you could join us today. If you found this to be helpful, would you please go to iTunes and rate us? Give us a 5-star rating and even a review that other people might be able to find us on the podcast. We're so glad that you are involved in ministry. Your life to kids ministry is a gift. So go and make it count.